Hawthorn led for the majority of tonight. They came into the last quarter up by 17 points, but Collingwood got them late. 10-8-68 to 9-11-65. Just the game of the season without question.
A bad way to lose when you're seven. There's no good way to lose a final, but when you're 17 points in front at three-quarter time and Hawthorn blown. But the emotion at the end of the game from the winners and the losers showed you what it meant to everybody.
What did you make of Michael Malthouse's reaction? I mean, in tears.
I think it's sometimes when you're so emotional, you know, sometimes it almost becomes a bit teary because they've found a win when it looked like they were going to get beaten. So I think it's just the emotion was the watery eyes a bit.
And sometimes, Tommy, it says admiration for your players too. I mean, you've seen what they've given in that last quarter. 17 points down, the way they finished on, led by Travis Cloke.
Travis Cloke was absolutely outstanding. With Collingwood, I think, because they've been such a dominant side all year that everyone's just assumed that they'll go through, they'll go into the grand final, they'll win the grand final. But they've had actually a lot of peripheral disturbances, I guess, if you want to call it that. You know, Mark Neal going away, the Malthouse, Buckley, and the injuries and suspension, those sorts of things. So it's been a grand final extremely well earned. Well, it's fair to say this last quarter will stand the test of time. When they talk about great last quarters in finals, collectively, these players must be congratulated.
It almost showed the whole last quarter as a highlights reel because it was just the different aspects of the game. I mean, just the pressure still on, the fatigue that players were under. And so the chasing pressure had to drop off a fraction. There was a little bit more space, but the fatigue was making it so hard for the offensive player. Again, we spoke about it during the call. You can seem to do anything to shepherd the ball through. I mean, that was a clear free kick, but the umpire, I think, was behind those on the opposite forward.
And that's the thing about a quarter like that. Supporters of both clubs can look back and find reasons why they lost, can't they?
And here's
only.
Well, here's another big moment. It wasn't necessarily the place to kick the ball, but the really good players from both clubs stood up. I thought Hodge was outstanding in the last quarter. So was Jordan Lewis. Dane Swan came into his own. Travis Cloke was exceptional. I think the sides, when they got the ball deep inside their forward 50 and could actually take strong contested marks. Here's Dane Swan. He was actually free for about 10 seconds prior to that, and Heath Shaw missed him with the kick, but he got back to the stoppage, got on his bike, and this was probably the moment of the night.
How'd it be if this had been the last goal to put him in front and win the preliminary final? That would be a
We thought that was the winner, didn't we? I mean,
it
had winner written all over it, but then at the other end, Luke Ball had something to say.
You just watch him there. He got himself free. Osborne was close enough. Might not have been his direct opponent. There's so much happening, such a huge flood of numbers going down there. You were not really sure who your direct opponent is, but this one here, Daisy Thomas lays his 9th tackle for the game. He had 16 contested possessions out of 20. Siren goes.
Last gasp.
Well, Lee, Rioli looked up. What did he see?
Well, there was no one forward of him. That was his problem. So he had to try and hold on to him to see if someone could break into space. But as the Collingwood forwards have done so well, and Thomas is as good as anyone in terms of the chase down tackle, and he got rewarded for the chase.
That says it all. Alistair Clarkson.
This says it all.
Yeah, so much planning on both sides. Clarkson stands for naught now, of course. Michael Malthouse soldiers on. Well, Travis Cloke is down in the rooms now. What a game he played. We've sung his praises in the final term. 11 marks on the night, 17 possessions and 3 goals. Let's hear from the champ.
Elation, but also a little bit of relief, I reckon, in singing of the song there.
Yeah, I know. We went in that last quarter really, panicking, I guess, and it was good to see the boys. We came through and kicked a few goals, got the momentum going, and really happy to get the win in the end.
In your own game, mate, it was a tough night for forwards. There was no clean ball coming in, but your last quarter, you really lifted. Do you feel like you had more run towards the end of the game?
Yeah, it was just a scrap all day. It was a great game from forwards and backs. No one really got on top, and I think it was just a great game of football, and just had a little bit extra in the legs, I guess, at the end, and just get away with it fantastic.
Plenty of moments at the end. One of them was your set shot for goal after a huge contested mark. How were the nerves, be honest, mate?
Yeah, a little bit, but I guess that's what I've been practicing for, that kick. And I missed one earlier. I really wanted to redeem myself, and I was glad it just went straight, and wasn't the best kick, but it went through.
And all your leaders stood up. Bally in the last quarter. Swanee kicked a great goal as well. Into another grand final. What do you do tomorrow? Sit back and watch the game?
Yeah, exactly. Back to the club tonight, do a bit of recovery tomorrow morning, same as normal, and get ready for a big game next week.
Good luck next week.
Cheers, mate. Cheers. No problem.
Travis Cloke right there. In my introduction, I called him a champ. Now, on the back of this season, does he deserve that accolade?
Oh, absolutely. I actually think Travis Cloke is the most valuable player for their team in the competition, and that was the beauty about preliminary finals tonight in particular. We had Travis Cloke and Buddy Franklin, the 2 power forwards, the 2 key forwards in the All-Australian side, and without a doubt, his last quarter was just outstanding.
And speaking of power players, Darren Jolly started the night so well. I mean, he was hot early. He came off the ground, hobbled late. And this is not a good sign going to a grand final now. We didn't know at that stage, of course, they were. And a question mark over Reid as well. What do we make of this?
We're thinking it's a groin injury. That was the sort of the first report at the time. But yeah, they are certainly feeling up the top of the groin there. So that'll be interesting to see, particularly when he cools down, just how severe that is. And
question marks over Reid as well as we head towards the grand final. They're already in, of course. Dane Swan, 32 possessions tonight, and so too Luke Ball. Quite outstanding. Those players finding a lot of the football late. Swan was terrific, and that says something about the power and the strength of the man that possibly is underrated.
I think he was brilliant. I mean, he has these ability to get the powerful centre clearances like this, but he went forward, and here's the stoppage one, just getting in amongst it also. But he's just got that really brute strength through the core. If you watch him, he won't fall over. There's no way. He takes on tackles. And he was as influential as any of the Collingwood players, particularly in the last quarter.
He gave them the surge of the run through the middle that they just couldn't get going. We were wondering whether Thomas would get going. Didn't offensively, but he was the one that had the energy and the speed to be able to get into space as the game proceeded.
Most coaches talk about being oblivious to the scoreboard and just playing for the next goal. Well, if any player epitomises that, it's Dane Swan, isn't it? He just sort of works away like a worker bee at the same tempo all game and eventually has his way.
Well, he can win the ball in so many different ways. He can win it in a contest like that. He can take the contested mark for his size, and he just has such an enormous capacity to cover the ground and work himself to the very end, and he was fantastic.
OK, Richo is with the winning coach now, Michael Malthouse.
Yeah. Well, Mickey, that was a great final. You're pretty emotional at the end. How are you going now?
Oh, hopeless. Bloody hopeless. Oh, we're getting too old for it. I'm either getting too old for it, or too soft for it, or too something for it. All I want to do is cry.
Well, mate, you got the big one next week. One more game. Huge game. What's going to happen?
Well, we'll just put our best side out there and see what happens. It's that's all we've done in 12 years since I've coached. Just try to be as competitive as we can, and the boys today just dragged something from somewhere, and we managed to snag a couple. Hawthorn were terrific today. I mean, that's just, you can be any side of a goal's bad luck, and it's easy to say that now because we've won, but they were terrific, Hawthorn, and can be only one winner, and preliminary finals are in many respects one of the, you get heartbreak when you lose a grand final, but I think preliminary finals you can have heartbreak as well. I don't know how many I've lost, but I know I've lost a few, and the last thing you want to do is wake up next morning and know there's two sides going to go and play in a grand final next week. So, but anyway, I feel sad for them, but I feel very happy for our boys.
There was some huge moments in that last quarter. You must have been proud of your leaders, because to a man, your captain, Swanee, Bawley, Travis, they all stood up when it counted.
Well, it's interesting to say that, because that's the group that I actually said at the end of the game in there is the leaders to a man stood tall and got followers in the end. They got players following into the right methodology and the handling the pressure a bit better than what they did earlier. And you know, they never got away from us, Hawthorn. I think that was probably one of the bonuses, was that I don't think we played well. In fact, we didn't play well, but we didn't let them get away. And we always stepped in, just kept that little bit in touch. And I think we only needed that snip.
In saying that, Mick, do you reckon that having that week off, they looked to be tiring and you just looked to have a tiny bit more run at the end?
Yeah, maybe we did, but some of our blokes haven't had a lot of football, and that was the biggest worry in the last 3 weeks is they haven't had a lot of footy. And Thomas has tackled at the end. He hadn't played for 4 weeks. Shaw's run hasn't played. He played, this is his second game in 10 weeks. Maxwell, his broken hand. So I just think you find something special. I think that finals football has its heroics, both sides, and somewhere or another there's always something that gets dragged out, and we were very happy to have it dragged out at the right time.
Well, congratulations, good luck, grand final, last game coaching, good luck, Mickey.
Good on you. Thank you, Matthew, all the best. Thank you.
Can't help thinking about those tears with Paul Licuria when they lost tonight, tears when they win. At least he's consistent. Collingwood win by 3 points. They're going to the grand final.
Action.
bit of time to reflect now. How tough a game was that to be involved in?
Oh, I'll probably be able to answer better tomorrow, but I'm pretty sore at the moment. So, yeah, it was a great contest, and, you know, it's a pity that there had to be a loser. And, you know, full credit to Hawthorn, they challenged us hard, and, you know, our boys stood up and showed real ticker.
Mick was pretty emotional, took you in. What did he say to you guys when he took you into the rooms?
Yeah, no, he's actually pretty placid to us in the rooms. He just handed us over to Butters and just said, listen to the fitness guru, and we've got a bit of an advantage, you know. We've got that half-a-day break, so we want to use it.
Yeah, mate, you've got a couple of boys playing their first grand final, Tarrant and Andy Cracker. You must be wrapped for those two.
Yeah, I suppose late in their career, I suppose that's what every player wants, to play in a grand final, and those two are going to get the opportunity next week, and you know, we want to do it for everyone involved, but those guys are going to really, I suppose, remember that day.
Now, obviously a big week coming up, mate. Monday night, you're one of the main fancies. You're probably not going to pump yourself up, but how do you see it sitting, the Brownlow?
Look, I'm just glad I'm going there drinking waters and got the grand final the following week. So hopefully, you know, Swanee, I think Swanee's had a fantastic year, but for some reasons underrated, and I think that he'll go very close.
Okay, mate, good luck and have a good week.
Cheers, Richo.
Thanks very much, mate.
If you were looking to say somebody is Mr. Cool in this competition, it's possibly this guy. Never seems flustered, does he?
Well, I was actually down in amongst the change rooms before the game, and he walked past as he was just walking in. I was taken aback by his actual size. He'd be 6'3" in the old, and just moved so well, so clean in the stoppage, and along with obviously Swan and Dale Thomas, if they recover well, they're going to be a handful for whoever they come up against next week.
I think the only time we saw him shaken was when he left his lucky jocks at home and his girlfriend had to bring them in.
Yeah, no, he's a very good player, so good in close. But there was two midfields tonight that have just got bulk about them, haven't they? They got size, and Pendlebury's certainly one in that category.
Well, Swanee, how pumped were you with that goal, mate, down in the pocket?
Yeah, no, I was that pumped, nearly popped my bicep out when I celebrated, so I got to be a little bit carried away. But yeah, mate, just, you know, we didn't look like winning all night, and somehow we found a way.
You played in plenty of finals now. How does that rate in the toughness and intensity?
Well, I can't remember too many that have been harder than that and more physical than that. Yeah. You know, we'll have a few sore boys today, so thankfully we get an extra day break on the sides playing tomorrow, so we'll need to use that fully to recover, and I doubt we'll be doing much on the track this week.
Big fella looked pretty sore. Jolly, have you spoken to him yet?
Yeah, I spoke to him. He told me it was cramp or something, but who knows with the big fellas? They're not that bright, are they? So who knows what's wrong with him.
Now, mate, big night on Monday night. Plenty of chances at Collingwood. Who do you reckon's the best chance from your club?
Oh, Pendlebury, for sure. Yeah, he's had a super year, and you know, it'd be nice to go along and you know, see him win it. It'd be nice.
What are you wearing, mate? You got something lined up for us?
Wearing a suit, black suit. Soho, Sammy down in Soho and Chapel has hooked me up, so I have no doubt I'll be wearing something pretty flash, mate.
Well, it'll be a pretty quiet night for you boys. Well done, mate, into another grand final.
Cheers, absolutely, mate. Fantastic.